Greetings, fellow lords and ladies. We're all look at Game of Thrones Season 6, now continues on with the episode Oathbreaker. So, beginning at the wall, as Jon Snow awakens and gasps for air, he slowly sits up and scans the room. He looks down and is horrified by his stab wounds, confirming that it's not a bad dream he had. Davos Seaworth, having returned to the room on hearing the noise, is shocked but relieved and quickly helps Jon as he struggles to walk. Davos asks Jon if he remembers anything. Jon, still shocked, says yes. He remembers getting stabbed by Ollie and Alistair Thorne for bringing the wildlings to Castle Black. Melisandre answers, shocked that the resurrection has worked. She then goes to Jon and asks him where he was after his death. Jon replies he saw nothing, much to Melisandre's disappointment. Ceasing on whatever hope she still has. However, she says that the Lord of Light brought Jon back for a reason, that Stannis was not the prince that was promised, but someone must be. Davos says to Melisandre leave them alone so Jon can adjust to his revival. Davos grabs a stone, knows that Jon was dead and now he isn't, which is completely, and pardon my French, but completely fucking mad. But he can only imagine what Jon thinks of it. Jon admits he tried to do what he thought was right, but got murdered for it and asks why he returned from the dead. Davos answers that they may never know, but it doesn't matter in the end. And the important thing is to fight and go on living for as long as possible. Jon thought he knew how to, but isn't sure anymore. He failed. Good, says Davos, and I'll go fail again. After he has recovered somewhat, Jon dons his Night's Watch armor and the Lord Commander's cape and walks into the courtyard, seeing many of the free folk and his fellow brothers arrive before him. Jon, still struggling to walk properly, comes down and greets the dumbfounded Tormund. Tormund jokes with the resurrected Lord Commander for hugging him tightly, which slightly still pains Jon due to his stab wounds. Jon then greets the relieved Edison Tollett and they embrace. Jon thinks it's still himself in his body, not a white, so he jokes to hold off on burning his body for the time being. Sometime later, Jon oversees the public hanging of the traitors responsible for the meeting at Castle Black: Bowen Marsh, Othel Yorwick, Alistair Thorne, and Ollie. Jon asks if any of the men have last words to say. Bowen says Jon shouldn't be alive, saying that it's not right. Jon coolly replies, neither was killing me. Yorwick pleads Jon to write to his mother Whiteharper that he died honorably fighting the wildlings. Alistair says he had a choice: betray his commander or the Night's Watch. He then says that Jon bringing the wildlings was a dangerous problem and had to be stopped, and warns him that Jon will be fighting their battles forever. Jon gives respect to him, and that Alistair would follow his convictions even if he knew this would be the result beforehand because he believed he was doing the right thing. Jon then moves on to Ollie, who says nothing and glares furiously at Jon. Jon luckily cuts down the rope, killing all 4 traitors. Jon looks at Ollie's lifeless body. Afterwards, Jon takes off his cloak and hands it to the confused Ed. Jon says Ed can do whatever he wants with the cloak, unofficially designating Ed as the 999th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Jon then leaves the courtyards and declares his watch has ended, leaving the rest of the brothers to look on in shock. Anyway, on the narrow sea, Samuel, Tarly, Gilly, and their babies and Sam are sailing on a ship to Old Town. Gilly and Sam have never been on a ship before. Samuel is seasick and begins throwing up into a chamber pot. Gilly assures Samuel that it won't be long, and says that she can't wait to see Old Town. The ship's captain told her that it's the most beautiful city in Westeros. While Samuel had originally planned to go and study at the Citadel, he adjusts his plans since he cannot bring Gilly and her child, as the Citadel only allows men within its walls. For their safety, Samuel decides to take Gilly and Sam to his ancestor home of Horn Hill. While he does not get on with his father Randall Tarly, Samuel assures Gilly that his mother and sister are very kind. Samuel wants to do everything to protect Gilly and her child from harm. Despite some unease, Gilly promises to follow Samuel and let him decide what is best for them. Anyway, beyond the wall, Bran has a vision of the past again. He and the Red Raven are at the Tower of Joy in Dorne, shortly after the end of Robert's rebellion. The last 2 of the Targaryen Kingsguard stand before the tower and block the way of a small party of Northmen led by Eddard Stark himself. The Red Raven identified one of his companions as Helen Reed, Mira's father. Eddard tells Sir Arthur Dayne and Lord Commander Gerald Hightower to stand down, and asks why they weren't at the Trident. Sir Arthur states that Rhaegar Targaryen ordered them here to guard the tower, so there they remained, Even as Rhaegar and the Mad King both died. Edward asks where his sister Lyanna is, but Dane simply wishes Stark the best in the wars to come. The two Kingsguard draw their swords, with Sir Arthur saying, "And now it begins," to which Edward replies, "No, now it ends." The two sides clash, with Dane making short work of a few of Ned's Northmen as he wields two swords, while Sir Gerald falls to Ned's blade. Eventually, Sir Arthur duels Edward one-on-one. Bran expresses his shock at Sir Arthur's skills, with the Red Raven confirming that the Sword of the Morning is better than Ned. Dane easily gains the upper hand and kicks Ned's sword away from him, but is unprepared for Howland stabbing him through the back of the neck. Edward seems visibly uncomfortable at winning this way, but unhesitatingly delivers a killing blow to the incapacitated Sir Arthur. Bran is shocked, as he heard tales of this duel and never expected his father to stand for such things. Edward runs toward the tower, having heard a woman's scream come from one of his windows toward the end of the duel. Bran runs to follow Edward, calling out, but he's told it's time to go by the Raven. Ned looks back for a second, seemingly hearing Bran, but then runs into the tower. Bran tries to follow, but he's forced out of the pass and back to the cave by the Red Raven, saying he had already been in the pass for too long. Bran is both angry and sad at this, but Raven asserts it was for his safety, and again Sir reminds him that the past cannot be changed. Raven further states that he's waited 1,000 years for Bran to arrive, and that Bran will not share the Raven's destiny. But before he can leave the cave, Bran must learn everything. Anyway, in King's Landing, Qyburn is in the company of the little birds, children he used to spy for Varys. Qyburn tries to win the favor of the children by attracting them with candied plums from Dorne. Shortly afterwards, Cersei, Jaime Lannister, and the reanimated Sir Gregor Clegane enter. Cersei wants Qyburn to gather information from Dorne, Highgarden, the North, and for people who are trying to take advantage of their losses and plotting against them. At the small council meeting, Grand Maester Pycelle complains about Qyburn and his experiments. Sir Kevin Lannister, now Hand of the King, is heading the council, which now consists of himself, Pycelle, and Lord Mace Tyrell, with Lady Olenna Tyrell in attendance to lobby for Margaery and Loras Tyrell's release. Cersei, Jaime, and Sir Gregor enter the room, startling Pycelle and Mace. On being questioned about what they are doing at a small council meeting, Cersei replies that she is the queen, only to be corrected by Olenna that the rightful queen is the one married to the king and that Margaery is the one who fits that description. Jaime then argues that he, as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, also has the right to attend. Pycelle admits that Sir Gerald Hightower once sat on the council, but dismisses due to the Mad King's eccentricities. Cersei accuses Kevin of not caring for her daughter Marcella, while Jaime appears to be the bigger picture and urges Kevin to take actions against Ellaria Sand and the Sand Snakes, who have taken over Dorne after eliminating House Martell. Displeased with the newcomers, Sir Kevin and the small council leave the hall. Meanwhile, an angry King Tommen Baratheon and his Kingsguard visits the High Sparrow to secure permission for Cersei to visit her daughter's resting place in the Great Sept of Baelor. The High Sparrow replies that Cersei cannot visit because she still has not been cleared for the other sins that she is accused of. Tommen criticizes the High Sparrow for her self-righteous treatment of Cersei after she had atoned for 2 of her crimes. Despite the differences, the High Sparrow claims admiration for the deep love that Cersei has for her son, Tommen, which he attributes to the divine love of the mother. When Tommen asks High Sparrow why he wants to put his mother through more trials, the Sparrow replies that he is merely carrying out the will of the Seven. He urges the young king to turn to the Seven for wisdom. Before Tommen leaves, thus angry more uncertain, High Sparrow tells him that the Seven have worked through his grandfather and mother, even though they may not acknowledge it. Anyway, in the Great Pyramid of Meereen, Varys holds court with the Unsullied bringing Avala, a prostitute who was in league with the Sons of the Harpy. She has seduced and murdered several members of the Second Sons and Unsullied. Vala is defiant and states that she opposes the new regime imposed by the Unsullied and Second Sons as illegitimate. She became a prostitute out of patriotic fervor for the old ways. Varys assures Vala he has no interest in torturing her and decides to strike a deal. In return for revealing who is funding the Sons of the Harpy, he offers her son safe passage on a ship bound for Pentos with a bag of silver to start a new life. Varys warns her that if she doesn't agree to the offer, she'll be executed for her crimes, leaving her son orphaned. Meanwhile, Tyrion passes the time by engaging with Sunday and Grey Worm in small talk. Tyrion offers to play games with the pair, but they are not interested. Before Tyrion can embark on a drinking game, Varys returns and informs them that the wise masters of Yunkai, the good masters of Astapor, and and the Free State of Atlantis have been secretly funding the Sons of the Harpy. While Grammar advocates attacking the cities, Lasagna advises against it since that would leave Marine unprotected. Using this information, Tyrion asks Varys to use his little birds to send them a message. In the Vaes Dothrak, Daenerys Targaryen walks with the Dothraki towards Vaes Dothrak and is ushered into the temple of the Dosh Khaleen by Khal Moros's Blood Raiders. The High Priestess orders the Blood Raiders to leave and strips Daenerys naked, giving her a robe which the Dosh Khaleen wear. As Daenerys puts on her new clothes, she tells the High Priestess that she will soon regret what she has done, as she was the wife of a great Khal, the Queen of Marine, and the Mother of Dragons. The High Priestess retorts that she herself was the previous wife of great Khal, Savo. Just as Daenerys thought she would conquer the world at Drogo's side, so the High Priestess thinks she would conquer the world at Savos's. But Savos was slain, and she joined the Dosh Khaleen. She's now content, just as Daenerys would be in time, if she is in fact allowed to join them. When Dany expressed confusion, the priestess points out that Khaleesi are supposed to return to Vaes Dothrak immediately after their Khal's death, but Daenerys went out into the world. She explains that all the Khalasars have gathered to decide which cities will be sacked and which tribes will be enslaved, and now they have to decide what to do with Daenerys for not coming to the Dosh Khaleen after Khal Drogo died, allowing her to join the Dosh Khaleen being the best outcome. In Braavos, a blind Arya Stark resumes her training with the waif and Jaqen H'ghar, the former of whom beats her repeatedly when she lies. Meanwhile, Jaqen has her mixing potions blindly. During her training, Arya continues sparring with the waif while answering questions about her family and the Hound. Arya admits to leaving the Hound to die instead of killing him, despite wanting his death. The waif then interrogates Arya about the people on her list: Cersei, Gregor Clegane, and Walder Frey. The waif voices disbelief that Arya's list is so short. Arya counters by asking which name she wants added. When Arya insists that she is no one, the waif does not believe her and tries to hit her. However, Arya is able to deflect her blow and leap out of the way, surprising the waif. After confirming that Arya has mastered blind sparring, Jaqen approaches Arya and offers to give back her sight if she tells him her name. Arya replies that a girl has no name. Jaqen leads Arya to the well where he scoops a bowl of water, which he offers her. She is reluctant, as others have drunk from it and died, but he says that if she is truly no one, there is nothing to fear. Arya drinks from the bowl and her sight is restored. When Jaqen asks who Arya is, she replies that she is no one. And finally, at Winterfell, the Umbers, led by Small John Umber, travel to Winterfell to meet Ramsay Bolton, the new Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North. Small John and Ramsay chat about their experiences with their fathers. Small John mentions that his father, Great John Umber, is dead, but admits that he would have killed him if the opportunity arose. Ramsay denies murdering the late Roose Bolton and claims that he was poisoned by his enemies, but Small John doesn't bother believing him. Small John has come to forge an alliance with the Boltons against Jon Snow and the Wildlings. However, he refuses about Ramsay, citing the late Robb Stark's betrayal at the hands of Roose. Small John reveals that he has a gift for Ramsay, who asks if it's a girl, hoping for Sansa Stark. Small John replies otherwise, and Umber guards enter the room with two hooded figures. The first turns out to be Osha, and the second is Rickon Stark, Ned Stark's youngest child. Osha and Rickon appear uncomfortable to find themselves in Ramsay's presence. When Ramsay asks Small John to verify Rickon's identity, an Umber retainer enters the room carrying the severed head of the direwolf Shaggy Dog. Rickon's expression of dismay confirms this was his pet. Satisfied, the gleeful Ramsay sarcastically welcomes Rickon home. Ugh. Damn you, Ramsay! Anyway. So overall, I think this is a very interesting episode, and while it is good to see Rickon again, I just feel really bad for what happened to Shaggy Dog, because he was so adorable. But yeah, and of course, we'll find out the whole point of the Tower of Joy and Dorne, and when Ned Stark saw there a little while later. So yeah. So overall, I give Oathbreaker 4 Iron Thrones out of 5. But anyway, tune in a bit so we talk the next episode, Book of the Stranger. So until then, remember everyone, winter is coming.